Good things come to those who wait. I am going to say now, from the hilt, where I found it was tucked in to the MERP module I ran last Saturday. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Look in the last MERP book you were reading. That's exactly where it was. Quite why it was in there, I haven't got a clue. Haven't got a clue. But hey ho, such is life. Thank you for sticking with me. Right, I'm just gonna get me chair in place. Right, okay. So, how are you all? Nice to see lots of people in chat. Let's see who's here. See who's here. We've got Halakar, we got Iman from the Hilt. Daniel's lurking around. There's Halakar again. Crafting Gamer. Hello, Crafting Gamer. Hello, Straw Piglet. Hello, Jean. Hello, Fief Keef. Who else have we got? I think that's everybody, isn't it? Oh, Mage's Musings has arrived as well. And Jeb. Hello, Jeb. So hello to all of you. Thank you for your patience. I normally start at 9:30, but as I had a few weeks ago, it was my son's prize giving tonight. And I said to my wife, got to be back for 10 o'clock. I want to be back before 10 o'clock because I've set the stream to start at 10. But then we find out my lad hasn't eaten all day. So we left the place at 9:30, went to get some chips, and the chip shop was closed. So they decided to go to McDonald's. Now, both my wife and my son have their burgers plain. You know how they pre-make them with gherkins and onions and all that? No, they have them plain. So they went in and had to have them specially made for them. And I'm sat in the car going, get a move on. And I got back bang on 10 o'clock. Couldn't find my character sheet. Couldn't find it. So there we go. Right, we are going to play this book to the end tonight. It's been going on long enough. It's very good. It's very, very good. I like gherkins. I like the sauces. I like the gherkins. I like the mustard. I like all that sort of stuff on a burger. Yeah. Gherkins are pickles. Yes. Gherkins. Pickled gherkins, we call them. Little cucumbers that are pickled. Yes. I like all that sort of stuff, but they don't have any of it. They don't have any of it. So, to wait for them to be made. To be honest, I don't particularly like McDonald's. The only reason I've just had a McDonald's burger is because they were getting them. I just had a hamburger, and I don't need a very small tea. We thought at the prize giving, so my daughter's prize giving, they'd got a buffet laid out, so we assumed that they'd have a buffet laid out at this one. No. A few bags of crisps for the kids, and that was it. Potato chips to you lot. We call them crisps. So we had to get some food afterwards. Hey ho. No worries, Daniel. If your spelling goes off, I'm not bothered at all. Spell as badly as you want, as long as I get an idea of what you're saying. I mean, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. We are playing lots of games tomorrow as well. So if anyone's free tomorrow, it's our double OSE day where we have a session in the afternoon. I don't know if it's going to be Gingerbeard or Jean running the afternoon one. I'll be running the evening one. If they want me to run the afternoon one, they're going to be stuffed because I haven't got enough material prepared. But so we're going to have. Looks like lots of people have signed up to play, so it's going to be good. But there's always space for more. It's a laid back drop in. Yes, Oswald can return if you wish him to. Yeah. And maybe if Mage is playing, we could have the two half orcs with Slavic accents in the same party. Perhaps. Could have done with a Slavic accent actually last night, or at least an Eastern European accent, because in our Call of Cthulhu game, The Russians got involved. I can't do a Russian. I didn't even try. Didn't even try to do a Russian accent. You plan to join both, Mage? Excellent. Excellent. But no, they've made significant progress on a Thursday night. They've kicked two of the bad guys off the train while it was in motion. And one of them is reading a book. And you know what happens when you read books in Call of Cthulhu? And yeah, he's learning a few things about the item that they need to take to Constantinople. And yeah, let's see what happens next time. Let's see what happens next time. Right. I'll just get my book sorted and we'll start. Right, the decision we made at the end of the last session was whether or not I'd written down silver crucifix wrongly as golden crucifix, because we have a crucifix and it has asked us if we've got a silver crucifix, and we decided that I had just written it down wrongly. So we have assumed we've got a crucifix, and it says here, the silver crucifix, we were fighting some werewolves. There were lots of them. The silver crucifix will repel one werewolf, causing it to take flight and flee the graveyard. Okay. If all the werewolves have been dealt with now, I make it all bar one. I think we have one werewolf left to go. So I'm just going to go, if not, turn to 472. Do you have any silver bullets? No, we don't. Could this be a very, very short session? Are we about to die? As your companions are busy dealing with their own opponents, it's up to you to do away with any that remain. We haven't got... We're playing as Jonathan Harker, weren't we? So, no, we haven't got any Pen is Mightier left as Jonathan Harker. So, 548. We use the last Pen is Mightier. Any werewolves that remain have the following stats, although you have the initiative in the battle. Okay, so yeah, we do get to just fight the werewolf straight. So, and it's not particularly powerful, which is good because Jonathan is a bit battered and bruised. First question for everyone in chat: red dice or blue dice? Red dice or blue dice? Make your decision while I pour myself a drink. Ready for the psht. There we are. It's only Dr. Pepper, unfortunately. Right, we've got 2 for red. Oh, 2 for red and then 4 for blue. No, we haven't fought Dracula yet. Well, 4-3 now. 4 for blue. Looks like we're going blue. Well, we're at 4-3. 4 blue, 3 red. If anyone else wants to vote, off you go. I mean, at the moment, blue is winning. I do rather like these blue dice. They're quite smart. They're quite pretty. The red one's not too bad either. It's got sparkly things in it. The other red one's a bit plainer. But we're going blue then. Here we go. Good choice. Blues have started off with a 666. Thank you, Hunger. How you doing? How are you doing, Hunger? Kick him in the nuts. Indeed. Indeed. We're blue dice tonight, Hunger. Though if you'd have been 30 seconds quicker, your $5 would have changed that. So, but blue have won the first round. Oh, blue have gone 666 followed by 111. Okay, so that's what blue want to do tonight. $10-8, we've won that round. Excellent. 8-6, we've won that one. 4-6, we've lost that one. Okay, we're going to go hit it one more time. Come on. Come on. Yeah, 11-5. Good call, whoever said the blue dice. Because the blue dice, we had a 50-50 chance of winning that fight. And the blue dice have nailed it. Well, we had a bit more stamina than the opponent, but the pack is gone. The wolves either fled or dead. If you were injured at all during the Battle of the Graveyard, turn to 599. Yes, we were. Very minor injury. You survey the bite marks and claw marks marring your flesh, and a cold knot forms in the pit of your stomach. You will need to clean your wounds when you get back to your hotel, but you can't help wondering if the harm caused by the werewolves might run deeper than mere physical injuries. Tick off the code word lycanthropy. Oh, goody. Oh, goody. Gain 3 more blood points. That's not good. And if you have the word Lyssa ticked off, gain 1 more blood point. No, we don't. No, we don't. So, here we go again. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, indeed. Skinsky and the werewolves cannot furnish you with the answers you need regarding Dracula's whereabouts. So the 6 of you leave the wolf-haunted graveyard and make your way back through town to the hotel where you are to spend the night. Tick off the code word Vanatori. Can somebody Google Vanatori for me? I will. I'll type it up and see what this means. It's got squiggly things on the A's, but I can't know how to do squiggly things. Don't mind being a werewolf. Yeah, well. I turned to 6, 7, 8. Right, we have a choice now here. Shall we continue the story now as Mina Harker, or shall we continue as Jonathan Harker? Up to you. Switch to play as Mina, or continue as Jonathan. Vanatori means hunt, chase, or pursuit. Okay. So Mina or Jonathan? Up to you, fellas. Jonathan is, he's in a spot of bother, isn't he? Is Mina a half vampire? She got bitten. She got bitten. She's not in a good way either. Oh. We're leaning towards Mina at the moment. Vanatori is a city in Romania. Excellent. Just Jeb saying stay as Jonathan. Other people are leaning towards Mina. She did drink some of his blood, yes. Yeah, and she's in a proper old state. She's got 4 endurance left. Her terror level is lower. She hasn't used any pen is mightiers, though. And she does have a sleeping draft. Yes, she still has 3 pens. Yes, she does. But she's only got 4 endurance left. So with all that knowledge, it's up to you lot to make the decision. I mean, we are leaning towards Mina at the moment. Just 2 votes to stick with Jonathan. Everyone else is going for Mina. Right, and Thief Keith has changed his mind. Okay, so let's go with Mina. Right, turn to 45. When you are safely ensconced inside your hotel, you go back over the notes you have taken with the aid of a map and of the region, try to work out where the vile count could be. And slowly you come to what seems like the only possible conclusion. Sending your husband to reconvene the vampire hunters after supper in a private dining room at the hotel, you you join the meeting armed with your notes as well as the map and restore 4 endurance points. Good. Gives that 8. I've been carrying out my own investigation into the matter of how the Count intends to return to Castle Dracula, you explain, and I believe I've made a discovery. My surmise is this, that in London the Count decided to get back to his castle by water as the most safe and secret way. He was brought from the castle by Sujani gypsies, and they probably delivered their cargo to Slovaks who took the boxes of earth to Varna to be shipped to London. Thus the Count knew who could arrange this service again for the return journey. When the box was on land before sunrise or after sunset, the vampire came out from his makeshift coffin and met with Skinsky, instructing him to arrange carriage for the box upriver. When this was done, he covered his tracks. You pause to spread out the map on the table so that everyone can see it clearly. I have examined this chart and find that the river most suitable for the Slovaks to have ascended is either the Pruth or the Sereth. Of these two, the Pruth is more easily navigated, but the Sereth is at Fundu, joined by the Bistritza, which runs up around the Borgo Pass. It makes a loop around Castle Dracula, and so is the closest that can be got to his home by water. Professor Van Helsing clasps your hands in his, saying, "Our dear Madame Nina is once more our teacher. Her eyes have seen what the rest of us were blind to, but now we're on his trail once again. We may yet succeed in our mission. Our enemy has the start on us, so here and now we must plan what we're going to do and do it tonight. I shall book passage on a boat travelling upstream and follow him," says Arthur. "And I shall hire horses to follow on the bank in case he puts ashore," says Quincy. "Good," says the professor, "but neither of you must go alone. There must be force to overwhelm force, if needs be, for there may be the Count's allies to overcome. The Sugani is strong and rough, and he carries rude arms." "I think I'd better go with Quincy," says Dr. Seward. "We have been accustomed to hunt together, and we two, well armed, will be a match for whatever may come along." The professor addresses your husband then. "Friend Jonathan, you should go with Lord Godalming up the river, and whilst John and Quincy guard the bank where perchance our enemy might be landed, I will take Madame Mina right into the heart of the enemy's country." But hearing this, your dear husband breaks his silence and cries out in distress. "Do you mean to say, Professor Van Helsing, that you would bring Mina, tainted as she is with that devil's illness, right into the jaws of his death trap? Not for the world, not for heaven or hell." He becomes almost speechless for a minute before finding the wherewithal to continue. Do you know what the place is? Have you seen that awful den of hellish infamy with the very moonlight, alive with grisly shapes, and every speck of dust that whirls in the wind, a devouring monster in embryo? Have you felt the vampire's lips upon your throat? Here he turns to you, and as his eyes alight on your forehead, he throws up his arms with a cry of, "Oh my God, what have we done to have this terror upon us?" This is a long path, another page to go still. "Oh, my friend, it is because I would save Madame Mina from that awful place that I would go," explains the professor, the tone of his voice calming you all. God forbid that I should take her into that place, but there is much to be done, and many places to be sanctified, so that his nest of vipers be obliterated. I will take Madame Mina by carriage, following the route you yourself took, Jonathan, when you travelled from Bistritz over the Borgo Pass, and that way we will find our way to Castle Dracula. There, Madame Mina's hypnotic power will surely help, for we shall find our way, all dark and unknown, otherwise, after the first sunrise, when we are near that fateful place. Less than 2 hours after your macabre visit to the graveyard of St. Peter's, you and Professor Van Helsing board the last train to Veresti, where you will acquire a carriage to drive to the Borgo Pass. It takes all your courage to say goodbye to your darling husband, for there is a very real possibility that you may never meet again. Add 1 point to your terror score. You have plenty of money with you, as you intend to buy a carriage and horses and drive yourselves. The professor knows a smattering of words in a great many languages, so you should get on all right, and you are armed. Quincy Morris has furnished you with a large-bore revolver, while Arthur has lent you a lady's untipped fencing saber. So Mina is now hardcore. Revolver and saber. You do not delay in setting into your apartment in the last carriage on the train, hoping to get at least some rest before arriving in Veresti, while the professor goes to the lounge car to enjoy a drink and a smoke before retiring. However, you have not been traveling for even an hour when you hear a cry and come to with a start, fearing the worst. Okay, a bit of a choice here. Do you want to leave your compartment to investigate, or do you think it would be wiser to remain where we are? Investigate or stay where we are? Hello, Palmetto, you snuck in? Is there anybody I've not said hello to yet? Oh yeah, you already voted earlier. I think I've said hello to everybody. Everybody's saying go and investigate. Okay, turn to 704. We are nosy Mina. Oh. Turning right out of your berth, at the end of the carriage, you find a huddle of concerned passengers peering at something on the floor of the companionway that connects the traveller compartments. Is that what it's called? A companionway? I'll remember that for next week's Orient Express. As you join the muttering, shuffling quartet, they make room for you, and you see that one of the stewards is lying on the floor. You're appalled to see the look of horror frozen in his glazed eyes and the waxy pallor of his skin. The poor wretch is quite clearly dead. "Let me through," comes the voice of a Dutchman, and the huddle moves again as he crouches down to inspect the body. "Who found the victim?" he asks at last. "I did," says a short, nervous-looking man, putting up his hand. There is something unpleasantly of the rat about him. There's a picture as well. He doesn't look at all shifty, does he, that one at the front? Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, might I ask you to gather in the lounge, directs the professor, and your fellow passengers seem compelled to obey. Before you and Van Helsing join them, the old man shares what he discovered with you. There were 2 puncture wounds on the poor victim's neck, he explains, and I believe he died from extreme exsanguination. Could there be another vampire on board the train with you? You are certain he's not the Count, for you're convinced your psychic bond would have alerted you to his presence. But then that must mean there is another bloodsucker abroad. In the lounge car, Professor Van Helsing opens proceedings. There are 6 of you gathered together. The ratty man who found the body, a handsome middle-aged man with a widow's peak, his hair greying at the temples, and who's wearing a curious talisman set with bloodstone, a beautiful blonde-haired young woman with skin as smooth and white as ivory, and bright red rosebud lips, and a wolfish-looking older man wearing a velvet smoking jacket, who has strangely pointed ears. Ladies and gentlemen, the professor begins, I have gathered you here because this very night aboard this train, a murder has been committed. We are traveling in the last carriage on the train. I was here in the lounge with the barman when the murder was committed. No one passed this way, and there is no sign of anyone having exited the carriage by any other means. So I can only conclude that the killer was someone traveling in this carriage. The assembled passengers exchange glances and gasps of horror, all arguing their innocence. How do you propose to deduce which one of them is the murderer? You ask the professor. We must interview them, one at a time, and by cross-referencing their answers to our questions, the guilty party's lies will find them out. But Madam Mina, who should we interview first? All right, here we have a choice. Who do we interview? The ratty little man, the handsome middle-aged man, the beautiful young woman, or the wolfish-looking older man? Up to you, chat. Who do we talk to first? Right, we've got three going for Ratface. 3 going for the wolfish older man. So 3 for Ratface, 3 for Wolfie, 1 for the woman. Three Ratface, 3 for wolfish older looking man. 1 for woman. They all have something dodgy about them, don't they, though? Because the ratty little man, the handsome middle-aged man, a beautiful woman with a pallid skin, and the wolfish-looking older man with the dodgy ears. I'll show you the picture again. There they are. Which one of those do you think might be vampiric? Okay, we're now on 4 for the ratty little man, 4 for the wolfish older man, 1 for the woman. And with 11 in chat, 9 have voted. Just 2 not yet voted. You're not bitter, Daniel. You're not bitter at all. Straw Piglet is abstaining. Right, I'm gonna have to roll dice. Going to roll 2d6. Whichever gets higher. Red will be Ratman. Blue will be Wolfie Man. Ready? Red rolls 4, blue rolls 5. Wolfie Older Man. 787. I hate perception checks. I do use them in MERP. And I don't mind them in MERP because there are degrees of success. And I like it when there are degrees of success on checks and the players can influence them by whether they've got a helmet or not. Did I just roll one? I rolled d6s, didn't I? Okay. My name is Dr. Callistratus, the man tells you, and I am an expert in diseases of the blood. I'm returning to the facility for the criminally insane where I work. I travelled to Varna to meet with Dr. Ravner to discuss my research regarding blood typing so that transfusions can be conducted safely. That you're correct there, Mage. You're correct, Mage. But I think it's overused in most games I've played of 5e. Perception is overused. Blood transfusions, you say? Van Helsing replies, his interest piqued. I have had some experience of such myself. Then perhaps we could compare notes. In fact, there seems no time like the present, for surely when we reach Veresti, we must go our separate ways. The professor seems ready to accompany Dr. Callistratus to his berth right at this moment. Do you want to accompany the two men? Or, if not, you stop Van Helsing with a mere touch of his arm and suggest an alternative course of action. But what? So, do we accompany the two men? Do we interrogate the rat man, the handsome middle-aged man, or the young woman? Or have we made our decision as to who's done it? Lots of choices, 5 choices there. Accompany the two men, or do we stop? Thanks. Cheers. Cheers, Monsieur Hilt. So get voting. Right. 1, 2 reckon we go with him. Nobody wanting to vote. Faith Keith reckons the woman. Well, we have just spoken to the old man is the wolf man. Halakar. So that means going with him. Rat man, middle-aged man, young woman, make a decision or go with the old man who is the wolfy man. Most people are saying go with. Okay. So we go with him. 4, 5, 8. Oh. Do we have a right? Let me count these again. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 going with. 1 for interrogate the rat man. 1 for woman, and Straw Piglet's like, no, don't go with. He's going to eat us. You reckon? Then you can change your mind if you want. So nobody wanting to change their mind, because we have voted for to go with him. So I'm going to give you 10 seconds to change your minds if you want to. Don't see any changes. Right. Okay. So if you want to accompany the two men, turn to 458. The killer, you say? Oh, right. Okay. So we are accusing him straight away. The killer, you say, pausing to take a deep breath and steel herself, is Dr. Callistratus. This is preposterous, protests the doctor, but there is a wolfish glint in his eye when he looks at you, akin to that of a hungry predator eyeing up his next meal. To the doctor's compartment, Van Helsing announced, leading the way from the lounge towards the rear of the carriage. Before the suspected killer can stop the pair of you, you are standing at the door to his private berth, and with a grand flourish, the professor pulls it open. You gasp in shock at what awaits you within. Resting on the seats as well as the floor of the compartment are several large travelling cases. Some of them are open, and you see that they all contain countless bottles of blood. Shrieking like a banshee, Dr. Callistratus tears his way through the appalled onlookers, smashing the professor's head into the wall and causing him to slump to the floor stunned. Backing into the compartment, you escape him nonetheless. Backing into the compartment to escape him, you nonetheless find yourself face to face with the enraged doctor. Okay. Do we want to use the pen is mightier right now? We have 3 left. It looks like it was him. Okay. Yes, use it. Our pen is mightier than his. Run him through. Yes, use the pen. Okay. Cross off one use. Let's get a bit of light in here. Recovering himself, Professor Van Helsing gets to his feet, and his silvered blade suddenly in his hand, he thrusts it into the maddened doctor's chest. Callistratus lets out a high-pitched scream, and before your very eyes, his skin starts to melt, blood pouring from the exposed musculature beneath as his flesh dissolves. Take a terror test. Our terror is 12. Yes, that's 14, so we're okay. 3, 2, 1. You run from Dr. Callistratus's compartment before you are forced to bear witness to any more of the horrific transformation that is consuming his body, but you are still left shaken by your ordeal. Add 1 point to your terror score. And turn to 509. You have done it. You have exposed the murderer of the young steward. Everyone returns to their own compartments, and you and the professor spend the rest of the train journey in your own company, grabbing a little rest while you still can. Well, okay, we have rested. That is good. So we gain 4 endurance. We need those. Mina Harker's journal. 31st of October. Arrived at Veresti at noon. The professor tells me that this morning at dawn he could hardly hypnotize me at all, and that all I could say was dark and quiet. Later that afternoon you prepare for the off. Professor Van Helsing having sequestered a carriage and horses. Your guardian has also purchased meat and drink for the journey ahead, as well as fur coats and wraps and all sorts of warm things. You still have something more than 70 miles before you. The country is lovely and most interesting. If only you were visiting under different conditions. How delightful it would be to see it all, while snow flurries come and go as if forecasting worse weather to come. You travel westward, the country growing ever wilder as you climb higher and higher towards the ragged, broken-toothed peaks of the Carpathian Mountains. It is cold now, so cold that the heavy sky is full of snow, which when it falls will settle for all winter as the ground is hardening to receive it, and you sleep for much of the time. You reach the Borgo Pass just after sunrise on the third day since leaving Veresti. Stirring, you point to a particular road. This is the way. How do you know it? The professor challenges you. Of course I know it, you answer. Did not my husband travel the same road and write of it in his record of his time in this terrible country? The by-road is very different from the coach road from Bukovina to Bistritz, which is wide and firm underfoot, and is clearly little used. Taking this route, you travel for many more hours, moving into a more and more wild and desert land, a place of great frowning precipices and tumbling waterfalls, until finally, as twilight is settling over the mountain peaks, as you are climbing a steeply rising hill, you catch sight of the summit upon which stands the forbidding ramparts of an ancient castle. The place appears deserted, as quiet as the grave. You have clearly beaten everyone else here, including the Count. Deduct a blood point. Before night falls, the professor feeds the horses while you make a fire 100 yards from the great gates of the castle. He then proceeds to have something to eat as well, but you have no appetite for food. Van Helsing draws a great circle around you and the fire in the settling snow, and taking a holy wafer, he crumbles it into a fine powder and sprinkles it over the ring he has just made. There is nothing for the two of you to do but wait. Darkness descends, the heavy snow clouds blotting out the light of the moon. Hours pass, during which the horses become unsettled and tear at their tethers, and the fire begins to die. Peering out the night, it seems to you that the snow flurries and wreaths of mist take on the shape of three women, clad in trailing grave garments. The horses whinny and cower in terror, and Van Helsing takes up a burning brand from the fire, coaxing it into life, as if he intends to defend himself with it. Now the women before you are of solid flesh, and you know that they are the same three women that sought to lay their lips upon Jonathan's throat. You feel as if you recognize their swaying forms yourself. Their bright, hard eyes pronounce white teeth, and their ruddy, voluptuous lips. All three of them are smiling at you, and the musical laughter of their voices comes to you through the snow-muffled silence of the night. They point at you and say in sweet, tinkling tones that possess the intolerable sweetness of water glasses, "Come, sister, come to us. Come." Take an ESP test. Got an ESP of 11. Mina's ESP is superb. Yes. Only failed on a 12 and rolled 8. 171. We passed the test. As if warned by some sixth sense, you know the thing is about... Oh, that's a mistake. 171. Did I just read the wrong one? Oh no, you have to turn. If you pass the test, turn to 58. I read the wrong one. Read the wrong bit. I do apologize. Come to us, sister, come, the weird women call again. But you resist their siren lure. God be thanked, you are not like them. Not yet. Van Helsing advances towards them, the piece of burning firewood held out before him in one hand, and another piece of holy wafer in the other. They draw back into the darkness, then, laughing their low, horrid laugh. You busy yourself feeding the fire, knowing that you are safe as long as you remain inside the circle. Presently the horses begin to scream as the unnatural women indulge their indulge their savage passions by killing the animals. Their whinnying moans cease at last, and you know that the poor beasts will never feel terror again. But you do. Add a terror point. You remain beside the fire until the red glow of the dawn begins to permeate the snowy gloom. Van Helsing leaves the circle to check on the horses, but when he returns, not many minutes later, he merely tells you what you already know. The horses are dead, all of them slaughtered by those monsters. His bushy eyebrows beetle in rage and frustration, and anger clouds his expression. I will make my way to the castle while the sun is up, and put an end to them where they lie, he says. Madam Mina, wait here until I return, and whatever you do, do not step outside the circle. Okay, we have a choice here. Do we want to do as the professor says, or will we insist that we go with him into Castle Dracula in search of the Weird Sisters? So, obey the professor. I can't get my words out tonight. Or insist on going with him. Your choice, chat. Do as he says. We're currently on, should we stay or should we go? We're currently leaning on 3 stay, 2 go. Stay and listen. Stay a while and listen. Which game was that? That was Diablo. Diablo, wasn't it? To quote the Highlander, do as I say, woman. Looks like we're doing as the professor says. Diablo was a good game. I enjoyed that. Diablo 2, wasn't it? I'm sure it was Diablo 2. Having sat up all night as the sun rises above the snow-clad trees, a great weariness overcomes you, and you lie down beside the embers of the fire, wrapped up in your thick fur coat, and soon fall asleep. Deckard Cain with his discount Sean Connery impression. You open your eyes to total darkness. Professor, you call? Professor Van Helsing? But there is no reply. Getting up from your place by the fire, you cross the holy circle without suffering any ill effects, and set off towards the castle in search of your missing guardian. You glide over the snow, leaving no trace upon the white blanket covering the ground. Ahead of you stands the castle, black and forbidding, but an open archway beckons to you. As you draw closer, faces coalesce from the shadows, white as bone, their eyes sunken, mouths open, so that they look almost like skulls. Come to us, sister, the vampire women whisper. Come to us, join us, be as one with us. And then the sisters' skull-like faces are all you can see as they swell to fill your vision, elongating and distorting, long snake-like fangs pushing through the bleeding gums, and you feel that they will swallow you whole. Take a terror test. Got a terror of 13. 13. Okay. You pass the test, turn to 900. Yes, our terror is now very average. Glad it's 4d6. Not quite as swingy. You wake with a start, panting for breath and your heart pounding. Your horrible nightmare has shaken you to the very core of your being. Add 1 point to your terror score. There's no sign of the professor, and the holy circle remains unbroken. Dusk is laying its mantle over the mountains, and so you put more wood on the fire, rousing it back into life. As your eyes are searching the gathering gloom again for your guardian, you suddenly catch sight of him, approaching from the direction of the castle. From his gait, he appears almost overcome with exhaustion, as he is carrying something. As he draws closer, you see that he's holding the severed heads of the 3 vampire women, by the long tresses of their hair, and in his other hand he still holds the knife that carried out the bloody deed. There we go. Van Helsing with the heads of the vampire women. It is done, he says, throwing the grim trophies onto the fire. Hardly had my knife severed the head of each before the whole body crumbled to dust. Seeing the vampire hunter standing there, so noble and so proud, afraid to do naught in protection of your immortal soul, you feel a stirring within your breast, and you are filled with the wanton desire to plant kisses upon his face and neck. Come to me, Professor, you say in a lascivious tone. Let me wrap you within my arms and comfort you. Madam Mina, he gasps, as if seeing you for the first time. What has come over you? Come to me, you say again, your outstretched arms reaching for him to enfold him within your embrace. Lie here with me, be as one with me. No, Madam Mina, I shall not, he wails. You do not know what you are saying, you do not want this. Oh, but I do, you reply, licking your lips with the tip of your tongue, and giving a cry of pain and delight as it catches on the sharpened points of your elongated canines. I want you, Professor Van Helsing. You will not take no for an answer, and as you advance upon the old man, he tightens his grip on the bloody knife, ready to defend himself. Right. Pen is mightier. Yes or no? Pen is mightier. Yes or no? He is, yes. Yep, I think that's pretty universal. Cross off one use, we have one left. Pen is mightier for Mina. Turn to 964. Quick as a flash, Van Helsing strikes you over the head and grabs you with his free hand, squeezing a pressure point in your neck, and you lose consciousness immediately. You come to again not many minutes later to find the professor rubbing your face with cold snow. Thankfully, the lascivious madness that had possessed you has passed, and you feel yourself once more. You apologize profusely to the professor for what you subjected him to, but he dismisses it out of hand. Such is this kind-hearted Dutchman's generosity of spirit. Deduct 1 point from our ESP score. And turn to 194. It is late in the afternoon when you sense that others are drawing near the castle, although whether it is your husband or that monster the Count that you can sense, you do not know. You and the professor set off towards the east, intending to intercept the Count before he could reach his decaying stronghold. You do not travel fast, for the way he takes you steeply downhill. It is hard going, trudging through the snow, and having gone about what you judge to be a mile, you sit down to rest on a large rock. Looking back, you can see the clear outline of Dracula's castle, cut the sky in all its grandeur, perched 1,000 feet up on the summit of a sheer precipice, and with seemingly a great gap between it and the adjacent mountains. There is something wild and uncanny about the place. Far off you can hear the distant howling of wolves. Even though the sound is muffled by the deadening snowfall, it still unnerves you deeply. Professor Van Helsing is busy searching for some strategic point where you'll be less exposed. in case the wolves track you through the snow. You continue to watch the road, which you can just trace through the drifting snow, until the professor gives a whistle. Getting up again, you join him at what appears to be a natural hollow in a rock, with an entrance like a doorway between two boulders. Why are you talking about yellow snow now? See, he says, taking you by the hand and drawing you inside. Here we can wait out of the cold and the wind, and if the wolves do come, we can meet them one by one. Taking his field glasses from their case, from the shelter of the rocks, he begins to search the horizon. Add up our blood score. Okay. We have a blood score of 12. If the blood score is 12 or higher, turn to 158. Oh, joy. This is a bad one. Gotta be. Look, Madam Mina, look, the professor calls. We have company. Send in the suicide geese. Springing to your feet, you join him at the entrance to the cleft. He hands you the field glasses and points out into the snow. It is falling more heavily now and swirling about fiercely, for a high wind is beginning to blow. However, there are times when there are pauses between the flurries, and it is during one of these lulls that you see dark shapes padding through the snow towards you. There are two of them, and as they draw closer, they start to growl with sinister intent. How shall we deal with the wolves? Shall we arm ourselves and prepare to fight? Shall we use the pen is mightier? Or shall we try to impose our will on the wolves? Hello, Slan. So, we have an option. Arm ourselves ready to fight the wolves? Use the pen is mightier? Or we have one left. Or shall we try to impose our will upon the wolves? For those of you who don't know what suicide geese are, you should have watched the stream on Wednesday. Fight, impose. Oh. Iman, you've been outvoted. One, two, three. Meeting the blazing gaze of the larger of the two wolves approaching the cleft, you will it to turn around and leave this place. Take an ESP test. Okay. We have ESP of 10, and I rolled 9, so the dice are favoring us tonight. Turn to 93. Incredibly, the wolf starts to whimper and then suddenly takes off into the blizzard, quickly followed by its fellow. Deduct a blood point and turn to 53. That drops us to 11 blood. I have a feeling 12 might be that magic number, so that could be good. 53. Look, Madame Mina. Look, the professor suddenly shouts. From your vantage point, it is possible to see a great distance, and far off, beyond the white waste of snow, you can see the river lying like a black ribbon in kinks and curls as it winds its way through the mountains. However, straight in front of you, and not too far off, you can make out a group of mounted men hurrying along through the snowstorm. In their midst is a cart, a long lighter wagon that sweeps from side to side as it races along the rough road towards the castle. From the men's clothes, you can tell that they are gypsies, no doubt the Sagani Jonathan encountered during his first visit to Transylvania. On the cart is a great square chest, and your heart leaps when you set eyes on it, for you feel that the end is near. They are coming quickly, says the professor, watching the progress of the wagon and its attendants. Watching the progress of the wagon and its attendants like you. They are flogging the horses and galloping as hard as they can. Beyond the swirling wall of snow, you can make out the sinister, shadowy presence of the Count's decaying stronghold, silhouetted against the red orb of the sun. They are racing for the sunset. We may be too late, he says hollowly. Hearing a sudden cry, you catch the sight of two horsemen following hard on the gypsy's heels, coming up from the south. It is Quincy Morris and Dr. Seward, and then from the north you see two more riders galloping at breakneck speed along the pass, and you know at once that it is your beloved Jonathan and the noble Arthur. They're all converging, the professor shouts in glee, reloading his rifle, while you make sure you have your revolver to hand. But it is not only the fearless vampire killers who are converging on this spot before Castle Dracula, for you can see here and there dots moving singly, in twos and threes and larger numbers, as the wolves gather for the kill. Hello, Mac. The wind comes in fierce bursts, furiously driving the snow before it and sweeping around you in circling eddies. You can clearly distinguish the individuals of each party now, the pursued and the pursuers, the former redoubling their efforts as the sun drops lower and lower over the mountain tops. Closer and closer they come, and all at once two voices call out, "Halt!" One is Jonathan's, raised in passion, the other Mr. Morris's resolute tone of quiet command. The gypsies rein in their horses, and in that instant Arthur and Jonathan draw alongside the wagon on one side as Dr. Seward and Quincy join it on the other. The leader of the gypsies waves them back, and in a fierce voice commands the Sagani to keep going. But the four men raise their guns and order them to stop. Okay. I think this might be an important choice now. We have a choice of character. Do we continue playing as Mina Harker? Do we continue the story as Jonathan Harker? Or do we now switch over to be Dr. Seward? So Mina Harker, Jonathan Harker, or Dr. Seward? I will explain what they can all do. Dr. Seward is in the best physical state of the lot. Mina, she's okay now. She is okay. And she's got a revolver and a saber. And Jonathan, well, he's been better. He's been better. Mina is the only one with any pennies mightiers left. The others have used all three of theirs. So Mina, Seward, or Jonathan. Those are your choices. Mina has one, the other two don't have any. Looks like people want to stick with Mina. Okay. I've seen enough votes. Mina, so 34. You and Professor Van Helsing close on the cart, your weapons trained on the gypsies. In response, the gypsies draw their own weapons, all manner of knives and pistols, and hold themselves ready to attack. Suddenly all is confusion, and the Sagani engage your brave companions in battle. In the midst of it all, you see Jonathan on one side of the ring of men and Quincy on the other, forcing their way to the cart, clearly bent on finishing their task before the sun sets. Nothing hinders them, not the levelled guns or flashing knives of the gypsies, nor the wolves. If the blood score is 15 or higher, turn to... No, it's lower, so we turn to 956. There's no time to do any sharing right now. That's afterwards. As the molten iron orb of the sun disappears behind the snow-capped peaks of the Carpathian Mountains, accompanied by a terrible, splintering sound, something monstrous bursts through the lid of the box. In that moment, everyone freezes. Vampire hunters, Sagani, even the pack of wolves, and all eyes fix upon the vampire. Dracula rises from the crate of earth in all his dark majesty, terrible and glorious, indomitable and unconquerable, an expression of twisted fury on his face, and his eyes fix upon yours. Come to me, Mina, he says. Join me. Without even realizing what you're doing, you move towards him as if drawn by some magnetic force. I'm just going to remove the message so you can see it better. There we go. Dracula bursting from his crate. Seeing what is happening, your friends and your husband throw themselves at the vampire, but each one is cast aside as if he were no more than a flea. Here in his home country, within sight of his ancient home, the power of Dracula is irresistible. And yet their self-sacrifice distracts the monster, and you feel his grip upon your body, mind, and soul loosen slightly. But it is enough, and you try to fight back against the compulsion that is drawing you towards him. Take a combat test, adding 1 to the roll if the blood score is 12 or higher. Our blood score is 11. Our combat is 8. First D6 landed on a 5. The second one skipped across, looked like it was going to be landing on another 5, hit the corner of my dice tray, and fell back onto a 3. Is that a sign? 756. Blue dice. Blue dice are kings. Somehow, against all the odds, you managed to break the monster's hypnotic spell. But now you're almost face to face with the vampire. Turn to 2, 4, 5. This is your chance. The vampire is clearly feeling vulnerable. You confront your nemesis, driven by the desire to make him pay for all the crimes he has committed, all the lives he has taken in order to sustain his own abominable existence. But which weapon from your arsenal will you bring to bear against him? Holy symbols and warding charms, holy water, the knight's shield, cold steel, silver bullets, or, our last, the pen is mightier. So, you have a choice. Holy symbols and warding charms. Holy water. Do we have any holy water? Nope, we don't have any holy water. So we can't have any of that. Can't use any of that. Knight shield. No, we don't have it. Cold steel. Yeah, we've got some of that. Silver bullets. No, we haven't got any of them. And the pen is mightier. Those are your choices. So we have a vote for holy symbol. We have a vote for the pen. We haven't got any silver slugs, Daniel. Only Jeb's going for the holy symbol. Daniel's gone for something we don't have, the silver slugs. And he's changed his mind to the pen. Everybody else is going for the pen. The pen is mightier. Yeah, it's our last one. 300. You steel yourself, ready to end the monster once and for all, when suddenly and entirely unexpectedly, he turns tail and flees, his cloak flapping behind him like great bat wings. Dracula moves so fast he is a black blur against the crisp white snow. 1 minute you believe he is a wolf, and then his blurring flight reminds you more of a flock of agitated bats, and then it is as if he is nothing more than smoke. Cross off our last pen is mightier, and deduct 1 point from our combat score because we did not face our foe when he was vulnerable. Yeah, that's the result we got. cheetah indeed, yes. With their master flown, the wolves slink back into the trees, their hackles raised and growling in fear. Without the vampire's presence impelling them to fight back, the Sagani give up as well. Too many of their number having already fallen to your bullets and blades. Abandoning your companions, you set off in pursuit of your nemesis. The supernatural monster leaves no footprints, but you have no trouble tracking him, thanks to the malodorous stench of the grave he leaves hanging in his wake, along with a lingering sense of evil. You follow the fleeing count through the dusty halls and cobwebbed corridors of his fortress stronghold, down a spiraling stone staircase and into the catacombs that lie buried beneath it. Do we have the word Sakani crossed off? I believe we do. I remember that word from somewhere. Sakani, there it is, yes. Turn to 9:30. As you pause to light the lantern, you had the presence of mind to grab from among your belongings before setting off after the count. The wick flares into life, illuminating an ornamental stone shield above a cracked archway. The coat of arms is superimposed with a carved relief of a mighty dragon, its wings and tail curled about it. You recognize it at once. It is the insignia of the Order of the Dragon, a noble brotherhood of knights to which the Count Dracula belonged. The vampire's trail does not lead that way, but further into the darkness of the catacombs. Do we keep following the Count, or do we want to see what lies beyond the archway? Follow the Count, or get distracted and go through the archway. I wonder if we should have fought him. Use that. I don't know. Don't know because we've got a gun and we've got a saber. Follow him. Okay, everyone's saying follow him. 835. Not wishing to delay a moment longer, realizing this might be your only chance to stop Dracula once and for all, you set off after the vampire again. You follow his malign spoor through the labyrinthine passageways of the catacombs, aware that with every turn you take, you are traveling deeper into the crag upon which the castle stands. Time loses all meaning as you pursue the vampire, who knows where, until you turn a corner and pass through an archway bearing the carving of a dragon upon its keystone, and you enter a vast cavern. Your lantern cannot penetrate the darkness at the back of the cave, but you can see you are not far from the edge of a subterranean lake. Standing at the water's edge is your quarry. A low chanting echoes from the walls, and a stalactite-hung roof of the natural domed chamber. It takes you a moment to realize it is coming from the Count's lips. As you step forward with your weapon raised to deal the undead monster a killing blow, there is a disturbance in the previously still black waters of the lake, and you watch in disbelieving horror as something truly monstrous rises from the water. It looks like a huge white worm, as wide across as a man is tall, but with obsidian pearls for eyes. It opens a horribly fanged mouth, big enough to swallow you whole, and gives voice to a roar that freezes the blood in your veins and shakes the very rock upon which you are standing. You're going to have to act fast. Will you attack the monstrous white worm or the vampire? Attack the worm or attack the vampire? Worm or vampire? Worm or vampire? Vampire, vampire, worm, vampire, 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 vampire. Wait, worm. Vampire is definitely winning. Yes, this is supposed to be Dracula, not Lair of the White Worm, but we're attacking the vampire. Ignoring the roaring serpent, you charge at Count Dracula, your weapon in your hand and a scream of defiance on your lips as he turns to face you. But you're stopped in your tracks when his face tears open from the widow's peak at his forehead, down to his chin, and his human visage sloughs away, revealing hideous, noseless features that are more reptile than man beneath. The undead monster sheds both his cloak and his skin, and his luxuriant black hair coming away with it. His jaws distend as they open impossibly wide, a sinuous forked tongue hissing from between long venomous fangs. Add 1 to our terror score. Terror goes up to 14. Where are we? We haven't got any pen is mightier left, so we can't use it. Maybe we shouldn't have used the pen is mightier in the last combat. Maybe not. The serpentine shape changer fixes you with its hypnotic ophidian gaze, and you feel your resolve start to weaken. Take a terror test. Oh no! Hang on. I'll go with 14 or higher. 11. Fail the test. Don't, not now. Not after all of this. Breaking eye contact with the horror, you screw your courage to the sticking place, determined to put an end to the undying Count once and for all. Although you fear it may be the last thing you ever do. Okay, we have to fight Dracula. Our combat score is 7. Our endurance is 14. His combat score is 10, but his endurance is 12. The blue dice have got to favour us here, otherwise we die. It does feel like a boss battle in a video game. Right. I think I need to... Right, here we go. That's my tray. We are the blue dice. Here's the red. That's not good. It's not good. The red dice have turned on us, haven't they? They have. They have. We're going to die. We are going to die right at the very end. This is going horribly wrong. 6-6, but he's got a 3-point advantage. We are struggling. We are dying. Mina. Oh, poor Mina. Oh. And that is the end of Mina. And I think that's the end. Oh dear. Yeah. Yep. So near, but so far. Because had we won the battle, 600 would have taken us. Oh, we've still had the worm to deal with. Okay. No, we're not going to start this one again. Maybe in about 6 months' time. Because that was a quite a grueling effort. But of all the books we've played, that one has been the best. It's been massive. That's 6 sessions we've played in it. Must be 12 hours. Yeah, we could all. Yeah, you're right, Stan. A change of pace. So, shall we have a vote for what we do next week? I think so. Think a vote. Do we go back to a fighting fantasy book? Or do we try one of the more complex solo Call of Cthulhu ones? Or do we do Beowulf? Fighting fantasy book, Beowulf, or a Call of Cthulhu one? Those are your choices for what we do next week. You're allowed to shout Cthulhu if you want. So let's see these votes. We've got. I'm going to count these thoroughly. Okay, so in my moment for it's a Death Trap Dungeon. That's a fighting fantasy one. Okay. We have a vote for Cthulhu, a vote for Beowulf. Thief Keith goes for Cthulhu. Halakar goes for Cthulhu. Daniel reckons Beowulf. Slan goes for Fighting Fantasy. Jeb says Call of Cthulhu, which is now winning. Nage goes for Beowulf. And Gene goes for Fighting Fantasy. I have 10 votes. 10 votes here. 4 for Call of Cthulhu, 3 for Fighting Fantasy, and 3 for Beowulf. Call of Cthulhu it is. So, Alone Against the Dark, or I have Eberron. Blah, blah, blah. Just bear with me a moment. These are your choices. We have Alone Against the Dark. We have Alone Against the Frost. So, Frost or Dark? Will that be a change of pace with that monster? Marvellous. Okay. Frost it is then. Next week, we'll play Alone Against the Frost. And I have some preparation to do because I believe this you play 5 or 6 different characters all at the same time. That's going to be fun. Yeah, Canadian accent. Yeah, right. Okay, so yeah, we play a whole party of characters in this one. It's quite beefy. It's 120 pages, for 650 odd entries. So it is quite beefy. It is quite beefy. So that's next week. So what are we gonna do? We've got 20 odd minutes before I need to depart. OSC tomorrow? Who's playing OSC tomorrow? We have Iman playing, we have Slan playing, we have Mage's Music's playing. Mage's Music's playing. I think Daniel's going to be playing as well. And Jean, are you playing tomorrow? Is the wife going to allow it? Jean is, yes. Can I do a minute to look? In terms of my accents, I can do a bad Southern drawl. I can do dodgy Monty Python-esque French, and I can do English. That's about it. That's about it for me for accents. Iman and the Mage are the ones for the accents. I'm not. I can do quite sickening, quite disgusting, evil accents, because English is how most bad guys speak. Cool. You're running tomorrow afternoon. Okay, that means I need to find. I can do an outrageous French accent. Yes, I can. Ah oui, monsieur, I can do the outrageous French accent. Welcome aboard the Orient Express. May you be most comfortable. We have the champagne, and you may have whatever you like from the menu. The steak or the soufflé, un petit peu. Can I do Geordie? Nah, not very well. Hawaii man. I can do Yorkshire. All right, lad. I can do Yorkshire accent. So I lived up in Leeds for about 5 years. My local accent is Birmingham accent. You're right. Oh, the first letter they got was a CA, the second was an NA, and the third was a DA. So that became the name of the country, Canada. That's my local accent. That's what they talk like around here. Yeah, American films, the bad guys are always English. Or English people playing Alan Rickman. playing Hans Gruber. Is that Jack Grealish? Oh, he talks like that, doesn't he? Plays football. I joined the Villa when I was young. I like a drink, like a beverage, a beer. I like my beer. I can play a bit of football. I'm quite good, you know. Glad I got rid of the accent. The wife still sounds a bit like that. Right. Anyway, I think I'm going to watch Peaky Blinders with subtitles. Oh. Yeah, Rickman did fantastic villains. Fantastic villains. Sharon! Your dog shat in the bed again? Sharon! Get your dog shit out of the bed! I'm the Prince of Darkness. I don't clean up dog shit. Yes. Ozzy. There's a statue going to be unveiled in the middle of Birmingham. Not sure, some point in the very near future, and there was a vote as to what to call it. I think it's a statue of a bull, and it's been named Ozzy. That won the vote. At least it's not Bully McBullface. Right. Anyway, I'm going to draw this stream to a close now. I think I did say we would stream until the book ended, and we got to the very end, and we were so close. Such a shame. I may have to take it to work and play it in the quiet moments at work and see if I can complete it myself. I want to see how that turns out, but certainly we'll run that again in fairly distant future. So Ian McKellen was born in your hometown. Marvelous. One excellent actor is Mr. or Sir Ian McKellen. Excellent actor. Anyway, cheers all. Thanks for joining the stream tonight. I'll be streaming again on Wednesday, but there's a lot of you. I'm going to chat to a lot of you tomorrow anyway on OSC. So as always, have a good one. Play plenty of games. Enjoy yourselves. Take it easy. We'll be streaming next Wednesday. I'll be doing videos Monday or Tuesday. See what I can come up with. And we'll start some Cthulhu next Friday. So until then, see you all.